Hello, my fellow animal lovers. How are you today? Before I ferry you to dreamland, if you love the content and you love animals, I encourage you to show your support by subscribing. By the way, tell us where you are in the world in the comments section. What time do you like watching our channel? I look forward to reading all your comments. Enjoy. Chapter 1: The Dark River's Secret. Imagine a river in the deep, quiet places of the world, where the water is not muddy, but stained a clear golden brown, a hue so rich it seems to hold the very essence of ancient forests and countless seasons of organic decomposition. This is a blackwater river, a unique and ecologically profound realm, often found winding like dark serpentine veins through the vast sun-dappled canopies of places like the Amazon basin, particularly its tributaries such as the Rio Negro, or in specific regions of the southern United States and even parts of Africa. Its distinctive, almost ink-like coloration is not from suspended sediment, which would create a turbid whitewater appearance, but from the slow, deliberate release of humic and fulvic acids, tannins percolating from decaying leaves, bark, and other organic matter that accumulates on the forest floor and then leaches into the water. These organic compounds, over countless ages, infuse the water with a tea-like clarity that paradoxically results in a deep, warm darkness, effectively filtering out most visible sunlight and creating an environment of perpetual twilight. It is a soft, warm hue that feels ancient, a color that holds the quiet secrets of the forest floor, a place of peace and stillness, where the external, light-dependent world is muted and internal, non-visual senses must flourish for survival. The very chemistry of these waters is unique, characterized by low pH, often highly acidic, sometimes dropping as low as 4.5, and a relative scarcity of dissolved minerals, resulting in exceptionally low electrical conductivity. This demanding habitat, with its chemical extremes and lack of visual cues, has sculpted life into extraordinary forms, favoring species with specialized adaptations to thrive where others cannot. These conditions contribute to a clarity that allows objects to be seen distinctly close up, but the overwhelming absence of light, especially in deeper recesses and during nocturnal hours, renders traditional vision largely ineffectual, making the environment profoundly challenging for visually oriented predators and prey alike. The bottom of this river is often a shifting bed of pale, cool quartz sand, with wide, gentle banks that contrast strikingly with the dark golden water, creating a serene, almost monochromatic landscape, often punctuated by submerged roots, fallen branches, and leaf litter. This is a place of low light, a natural cathedral where the sun's rays struggle to penetrate, and the world is known intimately through senses other than sight. A realm where the ordinary becomes extraordinary and the invisible becomes the dominant mode of perception, fostering the evolution of unique sensory systems like electrosense. In this liquid stillness, amidst the submerged roots and the gentle flow of water carrying the faint whispers of organic decay, there moves a creature of profound quiet, the knifefish. It is a silent, elongated shape, its body held remarkably rigid and calm, like a long, polished blade of obsidian or a dark, living ribbon, perfectly adapted to glide through the subterranean twilight. Its common name, knifefish, accurately describes its compressed ribbon-like form, which often tapers gracefully to a narrow, sometimes filament-like tail. This name denotes its morphology, not a nature of aggression, for it is typically a peaceful being, shy, retiring, and reclusive, a creature of quiet observation rather than swift confrontation. Its movement is a wonder of aquatic locomotion, a constant smooth glide that requires no thrashing or overt effort from its main body. Unlike many teleost fish that propel themselves by undulating their entire body in a serpentine fashion, the knifefish maintains a remarkably rigid posture, acting as a stable pillar of stillness in the moving water. This rigid body is not merely an aesthetic choice, it is a crucial adaptation for its unique sensory world, ensuring minimal self generated sensory interference. Along its underside, almost from just behind the head to the very tip of its tail, runs a single impossibly long ribbon like fin known as the anal fin. This fin, with its hundreds of individual rays, approximately 150 to 200 in some species, such as Eigenmania, ripples in a ceaseless hypnotic wave, a phenomenon known as median and paired fin MPF propulsion or gymnotiform locomotion. This unique form of undulatory locomotion allows the fish to drift forward or backward with equal effortless grace, or even to hover precisely in the water column, roll gently, or execute complex maneuvers with remarkable agility and precision, allowing it to navigate complex environments of submerged vegetation and debris with minimal body movement. The undulating fin generates thrust by shedding a series of linked vortex tubes in its wake, creating a jet at an oblique angle that propels the fish with efficiency and stealth. This precise control, without bending the main body, is not merely elegant, it is a fundamental component of its specialized electrosensory system, providing a stable platform for its invisible eyes to function optimally without self generated noise, creating a stable electric field. This quiet, graceful creature possesses a secret sense, a silent, invisible way of knowing the world that exists entirely within the deep dark of its blackwater home, a sensory marvel known as active electroreception. The knifefish does not perceive its surroundings in the traditional way, with eyes often reduced in size, highly specialized for dim light, or simply less dominant, reflecting its nocturnal lifestyle and profound reliance on other senses. Instead, it feels the space around it, enveloped in a gentle, weak electric field, a living aura of energy it continuously generates and emits from its body. This field is not for stunning or causing harm, a key distinction from its powerful relative, the electric eel, Electrophorus electricus, which can produce voltages strong enough to stun prey or deter predators, reaching up to 860 volts. For knifefish, this electric field is a sophisticated tool, primarily for sensing the subtle, quiet presences of the world, a true sixth sense, a soft, hushed awareness, a whispered secret about the quiet workings of the world. It is a world felt, not seen, a world that exists in the silent electrical language of the water, a constant flow of information that paints an unseen dynamic landscape of its immediate environment. Chapter 2: The Heartbeat of the Whom. The source of this quiet electrical world, this invisible bubble of awareness that constantly envelops the knifefish, is a remarkable and highly specialized organ resting primarily in the slender tapered tail region of the fish's body. One can imagine it as a kind of tiny silent heart, one that beats not with a pulse of blood, but with a rhythmic, continuous pulse of gentle electrical energy, constantly flowing outwards into the surrounding water. This remarkable structure, known as the electric organ, EO, is not a singular uniform unit, but is a complex biological battery built from a vast collection of special cells called electrocytes, also known as electroplaques or electroplaxes. These electrocytes are a true wonder of biological evolution, for they are modified muscle or nerve cells that over countless ages and through a striking process of convergent evolution learned a new specialized way of being. In most knifefish species within the order Gymnotiforms, these electrocytes are myogenic, meaning they are derived from modified muscle tissue, losing their contractile properties but gaining the ability to generate electrical potentials. However, in a distinct family, the Aptorhinatidae, which includes the ghost knifefishes, the electric organ is neurogenic, originating from modified nerve tissue, highlighting the multiple evolutionary pathways to this unique sense. These cells essentially forgot how to contract and twitch, how to pull and strain, and instead learned to efficiently store and then synchronously release a soft, gentle charge, a silent hum of power, like a collection of tiny, shimmering biological batteries arranged in series. These highly specialized cells are arranged in long, careful columns or stacks, one after the other, much like the individual cells in a conventional voltaic battery, forming an anatomical marvel that converts the chemical energy stored in ATP into a precise synchronized electrical signal. A single electric organ can contain hundreds to thousands of these electrocytes, all firing in unison to achieve the desired voltage and waveform. The intricate dance of electricity within the knifefish begins with a precise and rhythmic signal originating from the fish's brain, specifically from a small, highly specialized neural structure known as the pacemaker nucleus. This nucleus acts as the master clock, dictating the exact timing, rhythm, and species specific frequency of the electrical discharges, ensuring a consistent and recognizable output. This command, relayed through specialized nerves, triggers the release of a neurotransmitter, primarily acetylcholine, at the posterior face or the innervated membrane of each electrocyte. This chemical signal, upon binding to acetylcholine receptors embedded in the cell membrane, causes microscopic ion channels, particularly voltage gated sodium channels, to rapidly open in the innervated membrane. Tiny, positively charged sodium ions then rush into the cell, driven by electrochemical gradients, gathering together in a silent, coordinated motion, causing the cell membrane to rapidly depolarize. This rapid influx of positive charge on one side of the cell creates a potential difference across the electrocyte. The front end of each cell quickly becomes a gentle positive pull, while the back end, which is typically not innervated and depolarizes more slowly or not at all, remains relatively negative. This silent internal alignment creates a low voltage potential across each individual cell, typically around zero point 0.1 to 0.15 volts, 100 to 150 millivolts. One electrocyte alone can do almost nothing in terms of generating a detectable external field due to its low individual voltage, but together, in their quiet columns, connected in series, their combined forces, firing simultaneously in a perfectly synchronized volley, create the larger invisible field that radiates out into the water. This continuous emission of electricity is known as an electric organ discharge, EOD. The knifefish, a member of the gymnotiforms, typically produces a wave-type EOD, meaning it emits a continuous, quasi-sinusoidal electrical discharge, often at frequencies ranging from tens to hundreds of hertz, unlike pulse-type electric fish that release brief intermittent pulses with silent intervals in between. It is an utterly gentle power, a current of typically less than 1 volt, sometimes only a few millivolts, e.g., 20 to 50 millivores in some species, a mere whisper of energy, comparable to the output of a standard watch battery or a small flashlight battery. The strength of the knifefish, unlike the formidable electric eel, which, though a distant knifefish relative, generates fields of 10 to 150 volts to stun prey and up to 860 volts for defense, is emphatically not in its brute force, but in the peaceful, non confrontational nature of its being and the extraordinary sensitivity of its receiving system. Its field is far too weak to cause any harm, lacking the amplitude to stun or shock, making it an entirely different evolutionary strategy focused on perception rather than aggression. Instead, its power lies in its extraordinary sensitivity, a quiet, profound ability to feel the world without disturbing it, to exist in harmony with its environment, detecting even microvolt changes as low as for zero point 0.1 mixervolt/generated field. In its self-generated field, this invisible field envelops the entire fish, typically extending approximately 1 to 2 body lengths around it, creating a soft, intimate bubble of knowing that moves with it wherever it goes. It is the electrosensory space between the knifefish and its surroundings, a silent breath that it draws in and releases into the world, a constant energetic tether to its environment, allowing it to continuously monitor its immediate vicinity. It is its most private sense, a silent awareness that is always there, always gentle, and always knowing, making it an unparalleled master of perception in the most challenging, visually limited conditions. In the deep quiet of the Blackwater River, the knifefish is not just a body swimming through the water, but a small living field, a presence that hums with a silent song only it and other electrosensitive creatures can hear, a testament to the diverse and wondrous ways life experiences its reality, and a marvel of biological engineering. Chapter 3: The World Felt, Not Seen. With its invisible field of soft energy constantly emanating from its electric organ, the knifefish feels the world in a way that is profoundly different from traditional sight, constructing an electrosensory image of its surroundings. This unique sense has been honed over millennia in the perpetually dim and often turbid Blackwater rivers, where visual cues are minimal or entirely absent, making it the primary mode of environmental interaction. Its skin is not just a passive covering, it is an intricate tapestry woven with tens of thousands of tiny electroreceptors, specialized sensory organs that act as its eyes in the dark, distributing sensory input across its entire body surface. These receptors are the quiet sensors that feel every subtle change, every minute distortion in its self-generated electrical field, providing a continuous, high-resolution stream of information about the surrounding world. Knifefish, as actively electrolocating fish, primarily utilize what are known as tuberous electroreceptors. These receptors are exquisitely sensitive to the high-frequency stimuli ranging from 20 Hz to 20,000 Hz, or even higher, depending on the species-specific EOD frequency that characterize the fish's own electric organ discharge, EOD. Unlike ampullary receptors, which are tuned to low frequencies, typically below 50 Hz, and used for passive detection of external bioelectric fields, tuberous receptors are specifically designed to detect modifications to the fish's own active field, making them perfect for electrolocation and electrosocial communication. It is like having the sense of touch, but expanded to encompass the entire three-dimensional space around its body, a feeling of the world simultaneously with 1,000 fingers, as if its skin were a vast, sensitive array of interconnected electrical sensors. The distribution of these electroreceptors is often concentrated on the head, particularly around the mouth and snout, for fine grained exploration, and along the dorsal edge of the body, but they are broadly spread across the entire body surface, the back, and the belly, forming a comprehensive sensory array capable of precise spatial mapping. The mechanism of electrolocation is remarkably elegant and continuous. As the knifefish moves, its weak electric field uniformly envelops everything in its immediate vicinity. When an object, be it a submerged branch, a sunken log, a predator or prey, enters this self generated field, it either conducts electricity more readily or resists it more strongly than the surrounding low conductivity water. This difference in electrical impedance creates a unique distortion, an electrical shadow, a localized bending or ripple in the field's otherwise uniform pattern. The electroreceptors on the fish's skin detect these minute voltage changes or current densities, which can be as small as 1 microvolt, and this information is then rapidly relayed to the brain, specifically processed in specialized regions. The initial processing occurs in the electrosensory lateral line lobe, ELL, located in the hindbrain, where different populations of neurons, e.g., E type and I type cells, respond to increases or decreases in current density. This processed information is then transmitted to higher brain centers, such as the torus semicircularis, TS in the midbrain, and the cerebellum, which integrate the electrical data to construct a detailed dynamic and constantly updated electrical image of the environment. The knifefish does not need to visually perceive a submerged branch. It precisely feels the way its field bends and changes as the electrical current flows around the solid resistive form. It does not need to see a sunken log. It feels the quiet, unmoving shape as a distinct impedance against the constant hum of its field, allowing it to discriminate between objects with different resistance and capacitance values, effectively discerning their size, shape, distance, and even certain aspects of their material composition, providing rich sensory detail. Crucially, the knifefish's exceptional movement system works in perfect concert with its electrosense, forming an integrated sensory motor loop. With its impossibly long, undulating anal fin, which can produce propulsive force through meticulously controlled waves traveling along its length, the knifefish can move with perfect control, either backward or forward, or even hover and roll, without changing the remarkably rigid, calm posture of its main body. This is not a motion of urgency, but a fluid, graceful dance of pure awareness, a constant, stable scan of its electrical world. The rigid body acts as an unmoving, stable reference frame for its electric field, preventing self induced electrical noise, motion artifacts that would otherwise interfere with its delicate perceptions. Imagine trying to see with an electric field if your entire body was constantly contorting and bending. The sensory input would be a chaotic, indecipherable blur, making accurate environmental mapping impossible. Instead, the knifefish's body remains a pillar of stillness in the moving water, a center of quiet calm, while its fin orchestrates a controlled, precise movement, allowing for high-resolution electrosensing without confusing internal signals. It can drift backwards slowly, with its field sweeping the dark space behind it, a passive, non-confrontational way of exploring its world and detecting hidden objects, or advance with equal stealth and grace, all while maintaining precise control. The constant rhythmic ripple of its fin is a hypnotic motion, a visual parallel to the ceaseless gentle hum of its field, creating a seamless integration of movement and perception. This deliberate, unhurried movement prevents any sense of tension or urgency from building in its immediate surroundings, ensuring that its sensory canvas remains undisturbed. There is no chase here, only a slow rhythmic observation, an intricate ballet between controlled movement and precise electrical perception. The electric field, therefore, allows the fish to know its surroundings without ever physically touching them, a kind of quiet electrical echolocation, a silent scan, much like an airport scanner that detects objects without physical contact, but with organic living sensors. Chapter 4: A Whisper in the Water. The knifefish's electric field is not merely a sophisticated tool for navigating its inanimate world. It is also a dynamic, intimate, and profoundly intricate medium for connecting with other living things, forming a silent, complex language spoken in the deep, dark waters, where vocalizations or visual cues are often ineffective and even detrimental. Each knifefish species possesses its own characteristic electric organ discharge, EOD waveform, and frequency, making it a unique electrical fingerprint or a hushed signature in the water. For instance, the glass knifefish Aegonmania virescens emits a simple, continuous sinusoidal waveform, often referred to as a Hummer-type signal, typically between 250 to 600 Hz. This contrasts sharply with the more complex polyphasic, two or three phases discharges of other species, which might be classified as pulse-type EODs, characterized by brief, high-frequency bursts followed by silent intervals. This species-specific EOD is crucial for maintaining reproductive isolation, allowing individuals to recognize and identify conspecifics in a diverse environment teeming with other electric fish. Furthermore, within a species, each individual fish often exhibits unique, subtle variations in its EOD, slight differences in frequency, amplitude, or waveform shape, creating a personal electrical identity akin to a unique voice or scent that allows for individual recognition. This individual signature allows for fine-tuned social recognition, enabling individuals to distinguish friends from strangers or rivals from potential mates, and to form stable social hierarchies without overt aggression. When two knifefish come close enough for their individual electric fields to overlap, these fields inevitably touch and interfere, creating complex beat patterns or modulations in the combined electrical signal. These interference patterns are immediately sensed by their highly specialized tuberous electroreceptors, which are exquisitely tuned to detect such changes. This interference is not a chaotic clash, but a subtle humming recognition, a dialogue of invisible energy, rich with encoded information. This is how they communicate, not with loud sounds or overt visual displays, but with a quiet, nuanced dance of invisible electrical energy, forming a sophisticated communication network. Their conversations are not loud or demanding, they are subtle and precise, often involving temporary modulations of their continuous EOD. The most expressive forms of their communication are specialized alterations of their EOD, often described as chirps or gradual frequency rises. A chirp suggests something light and gentle, a small, brief, high frequency burst in the continuous hum, a quiet offering of presence, an electrical hello, or an inquiry. These are not calls for aggressive attention, but moments of shared awareness, subtle adjustments to their unique frequencies that convey various social messages, such as readiness to mate, submission, or simply acknowledgement. Knifefish, like other weakly electric fish, have also evolved remarkable jamming avoidance responses, JRs, a highly studied mechanism of electrical etiquette. If two fish find themselves emitting similar EOD frequencies within a critical jamming zone, which would cause disruptive beat patterns and impair their electrolocation abilities, they will subtly and rapidly shift their EODs up or down in frequency to avoid this interference. This elegant automatic response ensures clear communication channels and prevents sensory overload, highlighting the vital importance of maintaining a clear electrical picture of their surroundings. This sophisticated electrical etiquette speaks volumes about the vital role electrocommunication plays in their complex social structure, allowing for efficient information exchange in dense populations without sensory confusion. In the quiet rituals of courtship, a male and female may exchange these gentle chirps and adjust their EOD frequencies, their fields synchronizing until their movements and electrical rhythms begin to align, moving as one in an invisible ballet of energy, signaling receptivity and compatibility, a true electrical dance. These social interactions in their natural environment are typically peaceful and non confrontational, minimizing energy expenditure and the risk of physical injury. Aggressive encounters are rare, and when they do occur, tend to be brief and highly ritualized, often involving only a slight EOD modulation or a rapid retreat, as one fish usually backs away by simply leaving the area, avoiding direct physical conflict. The knifefish, by its very nature and sensory design, is not built for prolonged conflict, but for quiet coexistence, its electrical dialogue facilitating understanding and harmony without confrontation. A fascinating and evolutionarily significant aspect of this silent conversation, particularly in the context of sexual selection and honest signaling, is what the knifefish finds attractive in a potential partner. Females across many knifefish species tend to prefer males that exhibit lower electric frequencies in their EODs. This preference creates a silent, yet profound, paradox, as it seemingly places the male at a significant disadvantage. Lower frequency electrical signals are more easily detected by predators that possess a passive electrosense, such as certain species of catfish and even electric eels, which are highly sensitive to low frequency electric fields, typically below 50 Hz, where the knifefish EOD's spectral energy can overlap. This makes low frequency males a greater risk, a more conspicuous beacon in the dark to potential threats, like waving a flag in enemy territory. Therefore, a male with a consistently low frequency hum who manages to survive and thrive despite this increased risk must be a master of quiet, non confrontational survival, exhibiting superior stealth and evasive maneuvers. His continued existence in such a perilous state proves his profound skill at evading detection, navigating the quiet world with exceptional stealth, and adapting to the river's challenges, showcasing genetic fitness and environmental mastery. His strength is not in a loud, powerful show, but in a quiet, masterful grace, a testament to his fitness and his deep understanding of the river's peaceful rhythms and hidden dangers. Chapter 5: The Evolution of an Unseen World. The knifefish's exquisite ability to perceive and interact with its environment through an electric field is not an isolated evolutionary marvel, but a testament to a deep, ancient sensory lineage that has taken diverse forms across the tree of life, hinting at a pervasive bioelectric dimension of reality. The story of electroreception begins hundreds of millions of years ago, long before the emergence of electric fish as we know them today, with the earliest forms appearing in jawless craniates like lampreys and hagfish, which possessed epidermal end bud organs sensitive to weak, low frequency electric fields. This foundational ability, likely for detecting the bioelectric fields of prey, truly diversified with the emergence of jawed vertebrates. The most ancient and widespread form is passive electroreception, exemplified by the specialized ampullary electroreceptors known as the ampullae of Lorenzini, found ubiquitously in cartilaginous fishes such as sharks, rays, and chimeras, as well as some basal bony fishes like coelacanths, sturgeons, paddlefishes, and lungfishes. These unique jelly-filled canals, derived from mechanosensory lateral line organs, are exquisitely designed to detect minute, low-frequency, typically below 50 Hz, direct current DC bioelectric fields generated by all living organisms through basic physiological processes like muscle activity, nerve impulses, and osmoregulation at gill membranes. This ancestral sense allowed predators like sharks to locate prey buried in sand or camouflaged on the seabed long before the advent of active electrical sensing, providing a crucial advantage in dimly lit or turbid environments where vision is limited, essentially functioning as a living electric sniffer. However, the path to the knifefish's highly advanced active electrosense involved a significant and independent evolutionary leap. While most bony fishes secondarily lost their ampullae of Lorenzini, other non-homologous electroreceptors repeatedly evolved. The true innovation of active electrolocation, where an animal generates its own electric field and then senses the distortions it creates, independently arose in two major, distantly related lineages of freshwater teleost fish: the South American gymnotiforms, which include knife fishes and electric eels, belonging to the Ostariophysi superorder, and the African Mormyridae, elephant nose fish, and their relatives, belonging to the Osteoglossiforms. This is a prime example of convergent evolution, where distinct groups, geographically separated and from different evolutionary backgrounds, facing remarkably similar ecological pressures, such as living in dark, turbid waters with limited visibility, often possessing nocturnal or crepuscular lifestyles, and inhabiting low conductivity freshwater environments, arrive at strikingly similar solutions through different evolutionary pathways. Both groups develop specialized electric organs, EOs, to generate weak electric fields and unique tuberous electroreceptors, distinct from ampullary receptors, to detect perturbations in those fields, thereby facilitating navigation, object detection, and sophisticated electrocommunication. The evolution of the electric organ itself is a fascinating tale of biological repurposing and molecular innovation. In most knifefish, electric organs are myogenic, meaning they evolved from modified muscle tissue. The muscle fibers lost their ability to contract, but gained specialized membrane properties for generating voltage. However, in a particular family of knifefish, the Apteronatidae, which include the ghost knifefishes, The electric organ is neurogenic, derived from modified nerve tissue, specifically from spinal motoneurons. This distinct developmental origin indicates multiple, independent evolutionary pathways for the formation of these complex structures within the gymnotiforms, demonstrating the versatility of evolutionary mechanisms. Recent genetic studies have shed significant light on this process, revealing how relatively small genetic changes can lead to such profound anatomical and physiological adaptations. Scientists have found that in electric fish, duplicate versions of genes that produce tiny muscle motors, called voltage gated sodium channels, were repurposed. Instead of being expressed solely in muscle tissue, one copy of the sodium channel gene was effectively turned off in muscle and turned on in other cells that then developed into electrocytes, leading to the birth of a new organ specialized for generating electric signals. This remarkable flexibility in gene expression, often linked to a short 20-letter section of DNA controlling gene expression, cis-regulatory elements, allowed electric fish to do extraordinary things with their ion channels, transforming a basic cellular function into a complex and entirely novel sensory system. This mechanism of gene duplication, followed by neofunctionalization, where a duplicated gene evolves a new function, is a powerful driver of evolutionary innovation, with profound implications for understanding broader biological principles, even in humans, as similar control regions exist in most vertebrates and regulate a vast array of biological processes. The adaptive pressures driving this evolution were immense and unrelenting. Blackwater rivers and nocturnal habits render vision largely obsolete or highly inefficient for crucial tasks like finding prey, avoiding predators, and communicating effectively with conspecifics. Active electrolocation offered a novel and highly effective solution, providing a constant self-generated radar that works perfectly in the dark, allowing for a precise, fine-grained understanding of the immediate environment, unaffected by light levels or turbidity. The evolution of species-specific electric organ discharges, EODs, then opened up sophisticated avenues for electrocommunication, allowing for mate attraction, territorial defense, species recognition, and even individual identification in a world of silent electrical whispers. The rigid body posture, coupled with the incredibly agile, undulating anal fin, further refined this system by providing a stable platform for the EOD, minimizing self-generated sensory noise and maximizing the clarity of the electrical image. The knifefish, therefore, stands as a living testament to the sheer power and ingenuity of natural selection, transforming fundamental biological components into a sense so unique and sophisticated it completely reshapes how a creature perceives and thrives within its hidden aqueous world, representing a pinnacle of adaptation to an electrically charged reality. Chapter 6: The Intricate Web of Sensing. The knifefish's ability to navigate its world with an unseen electric field is indeed a highly specialized talent, a pinnacle of sensory evolution, yet it is part of a much broader, silent, and wondrous network of hidden senses that permeate the animal kingdom. This intricate web demonstrates that life on Earth perceives reality in myriad ways we can only begin to fathom, challenging our human-centric view of what constitutes sensing. Many creatures know the world through invisible maps and unperceived signals, senses that are exquisitely tuned to their specific ecological niches and the unique challenges of their environments, far beyond the familiar five. Consider the bat, a creature of the night which sees its world with sound, a sophisticated process known as echolocation or sonar. It emits high frequency calls far beyond what human ears can discern, typically between 14 kilohertz and 200 kilohertz, with some species reaching up to 212 kilohertz, and then meticulously listens as the echoes return. By interpreting the time delay for distance, direction for azimuth and elevation, and the characteristics, frequency, amplitude, phase shifts of these returning sound waves, the bat can construct a detailed dynamic acoustic map of its surroundings, determining the size, shape, distance, velocity, and even the texture of objects in its path, sometimes detecting objects as fine as a human hair or a mosquito's wing beat. The bat's world is a complex sonic landscape, entirely invisible to us, where walls of sound bounce back with information, painting a vivid picture in vibrations. Some bats are shouters, such as big brown bats, Aptesicus fuscus, emitting calls as loud as 110 decibels, similar to a smoke alarm, to scan open spaces, while others are whisperers, like the northern long-eared bat, Myoses septentrionalis, producing sounds of 60 decibels, like normal human conversation, to navigate quietly through dense foliage and glean insects from trees. Each strategy is optimized for their hunting and navigation needs, employing different call types, frequency modulated or constant frequencies, and frequencies to achieve the best range and image acuity, all while filtering out their own powerful emissions. The knifefish, with its soft internal electrical hum and its electrical echolocation, is a master of the quiet, a silent echo of the world's most gentle navigators, utilizing a different medium, electrical rather than acoustic waves, but the same fundamental principle of sending out signals and interpreting the returning perturbations to create an environmental map. Other creatures use the deep, ancient pull of the planet itself to find their way, carrying an invisible compass within them, a sense known as magnetoreception. The sea turtle and the shark, for example, possess a remarkable ability to feel the Earth's magnetic field, a silent, unmoving presence that acts as a kind of internal GPS, guiding them across thousands of miles of open ocean during their epic migrations. Sharks, along with rays and skates, detect these geomagnetic fields using their ampullae of Lorenzini, jelly-filled pores on their snouts and heads that are incredibly sensitive to minute electrical changes. As they swim, their movement through the Earth's magnetic field induces tiny electrical currents, which these specialized pores can detect, allowing them to navigate vast distances without visual cues or even sunlight. Research on species like bonnet-head sharks has shown they can orient themselves to magnetic fields matching their migratory routes, demonstrating a true magnetic compass sense, a fundamental tool for long-distance oceanic journeys and returning to natal grounds. They can even detect the subtle magnetic anomalies caused by prey buried in the sand. It is a silent conversation with the planet itself, a knowing that feels as profound as it is ancient, a primal connection to the very forces that shaped the earth. Even the platypus, Ornithorhynchus anatinus, a creature of many wonders, a monotreme, a mammal that lays eggs, endemic to Australia, exhibits a unique and independently evolved form of electroreception. When it dives into the water to forage, it seals its eyes, nose, and ears, effectively shutting off its conventional senses, becoming entirely reliant on its specialized bill. It then sweeps its soft, highly innervated bill from side to side along the riverbed, feeling for the tiny electrical pulses that emanate from the muscle contractions of its invertebrate prey, such as shrimp, insect larvae, and crayfish. The platypus's bill is equipped with tens of thousands of electroreceptors, around 40,000 in distinct rows on its bill, interspersed with mechanoreceptors that detect pressure changes, creating a highly integrated sensory array. This dual sensory input makes it extraordinarily sensitive to bioelectric fields as small as 20 microvolts per centimeter, far more acute than many fish, allowing it to precisely localize prey even when it is completely submerged and visually hidden. It is not hunting by sight or smell, but by a quiet, intimate awareness of the life around it, a silent knowledge of every small twitch and tremor, a true sixth sense, independently evolved from those found in fish, exemplifying convergent evolution in the most unexpected mammalian lineage. These creatures are not strange or anomalous. They are simply masters of a world that is always there, waiting to be felt and interpreted in new and wondrous ways, transcending our own sensory limitations. The knifefish, with its active electrolocation system, actively generates a field, constantly perceiving its own emitted signals and their distortions to build a picture of its environment. This mechanism fundamentally contrasts with the passive electrolocation used by sharks, which merely detect existing external fields, highlighting the incredible diversity within electroreception itself. Moreover, some other weakly electric fish, like the African elephant nose fish, Nathonomus pitures, a more myrid, demonstrate a phenomenon called collective sensing, where individual fish can leverage the electric fields generated by their peers to enhance their own perception, essentially seeing through the auras of their neighbors like a networked radar system. This suggests that the intricate web of electrosensory perception can extend beyond individual awareness to a complex form of shared consciousness or information pooling within a group, a remarkable level of social sensing. The knifefish is but one of these masters, a quiet, gentle guide into a world of unseen and unheard rhythms, inviting us to broaden our understanding of what it means to sense and navigate the tapestry of existence, revealing the vast silent dimensions of biological perception that continue to unfold around us. Chapter 7: The Quiet Hunt. The knifefish is fundamentally a nocturnal creature, a being intrinsically linked to the deep dark hours when the sun has departed and the aquatic world slips into its most profound quiet. Its senses are most alive and acute in this low light environment, a testament to the evolutionary pressures that shaped its unique sensory system, prioritizing electrosense over vision, which is often diminished or secondary. In the still of the night, it moves through the Blackwater River in a state of peaceful awareness, a solitary presence meticulously scanning its domain. It is a predator, yes, but its hunting is a slow, methodical, and profoundly peaceful process, almost meditative in its execution, a stark contrast to the explosive, visually driven hunts of many diurnal predators. The knifefish does not engage in frantic chases or aggressive attacks with blinding speed. Rather, it is described as shy, retiring, and peaceful, its very nature a contradiction to the typical perception of a hunter, which often evokes images of ferocity and brute force. This understated approach is not a weakness, but a highly refined strategy, perfectly aligned with its specialized electrosensory system, allowing for optimal energy conservation and minimal disturbance of its environment, which might otherwise alert both prey and predators. Its hunt is an act of gentle, continuous observation, an electrical reconnaissance, rather than a frantic pursuit. It uses its weak electric field to find its meals, which are often small, quiet creatures like aquatic worms, crustaceans such as small shrimp and copepods, and various aquatic insects, larvae, and nymphs, organisms whose subtle movements and biological processes betray their presence. The fish does not stun them with a powerful shock, for its field is far too weak, typically less than 1 volt, incapable of inflicting harm or incapacitation. Instead, it feels them, every living thing, through the simple contraction of its muscles, the subtle beating of its heart, the rhythmic movement of its gills, or even the ion pumps involved in osmoregulation and maintaining cellular integrity, generates a tiny, low frequency bioelectric field. A shrimp's tail flicking, a worm slowly crawling on the sandy bottom, the minute pulses of an insect larva or a water flea. Each of these movements and physiological processes sends a minuscule electrical signal, a ripple, into the surrounding water. These bioelectric signals, typically in the DC or very low frequency below 50 Hz range, are distinct from the knifefish's own continuous, high frequency, hundreds to thousands of hertz electric organ discharge, EOD, allowing it to differentiate between its self generated field and external stimuli from prey. The knifefish's highly sensitive tuberous electroreceptors, while primarily tuned to its own high frequency EOD for active electrolocation, are also adept at detecting these minute, low frequency disturbances as subtle perturbations against its continuous, high frequency EOD. This requires sophisticated neural processing in the brain's electrosensory lateral line lobe, ELL, to effectively filter out its own constant field, a process known as reafferent suppression or sensory cancellation, and focus on external changes, akin to how our brains filter out the feeling of our own clothes or the sound of our own breathing. It is not an act of aggression, but an act of deep and quiet listening, an electrical eavesdropping on the subtle symphony of life around it, allowing it to detect hidden prey with remarkable precision. The knifefish drifts backward or forward with its characteristic undulating fin, its long anal fin performing a slow, continuous wave, its electric field gently sweeping the sandy bed and the hidden nooks of its habitat, creating a dynamic, constantly updated electrical image of its surroundings. Its body remains remarkably still, a perfect column of calm, providing a stable platform for its electrosense, while its senses are profoundly active, absorbing a constant stream of information. The presence of its prey is simply a change in the electrical pattern, a small non urgent signal that registers in its array of electroreceptors, providing precise information about the prey's location, size, and even movement. This high sensitivity allows the fish to detect prey that are motionless or buried in the substrate, giving it a significant advantage in the dark where visual hunters would fail. This is the quiet hunt, a peaceful communion between the hunter and the hunted, where detection occurs through an invisible silent medium, minimizing stress and energy expenditure. The fish is not a brutal predator, but a silent observer, a part of the river's own quiet rhythm of life and nourishment. Furthermore, this method of hunting offers an advantage in predator avoidance. While its EOD is crucial for electrolocation, its specific waveform and frequency are also part of an evolutionary arms race to avoid detection by its own electroreceptive predators, such as certain species of passively electroreceptive catfishes, e.g., Pimelodidae or Trichomecteridae, which possess sensitive ampullary electroreceptors and often eavesdrop on the electrical signals of their prey. Weakly electric fish tend to evolve EODs that shift their spectral energy towards higher frequencies or cloak low frequency components, as these low frequencies are more easily detected by the ampullary receptors of predators. Some knifefish, like certain blunt-nosed knifefishes, Brachyhypopomus species, may even exhibit Bachian mimicry, producing discharge patterns similar to the powerful electric eel to bluff potential threats into thinking they are dangerous, despite lacking the high voltage to actually harm. This electrical mimicry serves as a deterrent against predators. The entire interaction of the quiet hunt is a slow, fluid meditation on presence and awareness, a state of being that is calm, centered, and deeply at peace, demonstrating a remarkable adaptation to its shadowy world and the constant silent interplay of life and death within it. Chapter 8: A Symphony of Electrical Life. The knifefish's exquisite ability to navigate its world with an unseen electric field opens a profound window into a much broader, pervasive reality, a symphony of electrical life that hums beneath the surface of our awareness, often entirely imperceptible to human senses, yet fundamental to biological processes. Its talent is not an isolated phenomenon, but rather a highly specialized manifestation of bioelectricity, a fundamental force woven into the very fabric of existence, from the firing of neurons in our own brains to the growth patterns of plants and the coordinated movements of cellular organelles. Beyond the knifefish's personal self-generated field, the entire aquatic environment is permeated by a subtle, intricate network of electrical signals. Every creature, from the smallest invertebrate to the largest fish, generates minute bioelectric fields through its basic physiological processes: heartbeats, muscle contractions, gill movements, wound potentials, or even the active cellular pumps that maintain ion gradients across cell membranes. This ubiquitous bioelectric activity creates a dynamic, ever changing electrical landscape, or an invisible map that other electrosensitive creatures, like the knifefish, can tap into, passively detecting the presence and activity of other organisms, building a rich picture of the living world around them. This constant electrical background noise also provides a crucial context for the knifefish's active electrosense. The knifefish thus exists within this complex, silent electrical hum, constantly integrating its own self-generated field with the myriad subtle signals from its surroundings, effectively operating as both a precise electrical transmitter and a highly sensitive electrical receiver in this intricate biological network. This dual capability allows it to fulfill its crucial ecological role within the blackwater ecosystem as both a precise predator, deftly locating hidden prey, and a vigilant avoidance artist, constantly alert to larger, passively electroreceptive predators that might be listening in on its own electric organ discharge EOD. This creates an ongoing evolutionary arms race between prey and predator in the electric domain, where each side develops sophisticated counteradaptations. For example, the continuous wave EOD of many knifefish, generally composed of higher frequencies, represents an evolutionary counteradaptation to the low frequency sensitivity of its catfish predators, making it harder for these eavesdroppers to pinpoint their location effectively. This constant interplay of electrical signaling and sensing profoundly shapes the behavior, morphology, and survival strategies of all electrosensitive species in these unique low visibility habitats, driving biodiversity and ecological specialization. Studying these remarkable fish provides profound insights that extend far beyond aquatic biology, challenging our anthropocentric understanding of sensory perception and revealing the vastness of biological ingenuity. The knifefish's electrosense demonstrates unequivocally that reality is far richer and more multi layered than what our own limited visual, auditory, and tactile senses can perceive. This understanding inspires human innovation, particularly in the burgeoning field of biomimicry and bio-inspired engineering. Engineers and roboticists are actively studying the knifefish's highly efficient, undulating fin locomotion and its electrosensory system to design agile, stealthy underwater vehicles that can navigate murky waters without relying on light or generating disruptive sound waves. Imagine robots that can explore deep sea environments, monitor fragile coral reefs, inspect underwater pipelines, or assess oil spills with the same silent, delicate precision as a knifefish, gathering data without disturbing the environment or alerting sensitive species. The continuous EOD also offers a unique form of self calibration for such robotic systems, allowing them to constantly assess their own sensory integrity and adapt to changing water conditions, much like the biological system. Furthermore, the complex neural processing in the knifefish brain, particularly in the highly developed electrosensory lateral line lobe, EL, and the cerebellum, is a goldmine for neuroscientists. It excels at filtering out its own EOD to detect minute external changes, a process known as reafferent suppression or sensory cancellation, integrating diverse electrical signals across its body and translating them into a coherent spatial map. This offers invaluable models for understanding how nervous systems process weak and ambiguous sensory data, a challenge common to all sensory systems, including our own auditory and visual pathways, which must also filter out internal noise. This research can contribute to advancements in bionic devices, such as cochlear or retinal implants, by revealing general principles of sensory system sensitivity, signal amplification, noise reduction, and invariant perception. The specialized brain structures of electric fish, sometimes boasting brain to body mass ratios among the largest in the animal kingdom, are a testament to the computational demands of their electrical world, especially when engaging in sophisticated social sensing and detailed spatial mapping. Understanding these mechanisms could also shed light on human neurological disorders related to sensory processing and integration, such as autism or schizophrenia, where sensory filtering is often compromised. However, this intricate world of electrical life is also incredibly fragile. Blackwater rivers, with their unique chemistry, low conductivity, and delicate balance of organic matter, are highly susceptible to human impacts such as habitat degradation, pollution from agricultural runoff, heavy metals or industrial waste, and changes in water flow due to deforestation, dam construction, and climate change. The highly specialized adaptations of the knifefish, so finely tuned to their specific environment, make them particularly vulnerable to disturbances. Disruptions to water conductivity, for example, could fundamentally impair their ability to electrolocate and electrocommunicate, essentially blinding and silencing them in their own world, leading to an inability to find food, avoid predators, or find mates.